sure everything fits grooves properly and all that. Yep, that looks really good. So all these have been cleaned and trimmed. All right, so now I need to go mix some epoxy. Epoxy is precisely measured on a 3-beam scale to get the right mix. I actually use marine epoxy, so okay, so we have to go to. It is remarkable that we use marine epoxy and it smells like fish guts. Very close. Thoroughly mix the epoxy, and then we put it in a syringe. It gives you probably 15 or 20 minutes working time, but then it does take hours to set up where it's kind of rigid. So we usually leave it in the jig for about 4 hours. So we can do one in the morning, do one around lunchtime, and do one before heading home at the end of the day. That's usually enough. So let me just make sure that this is good. There we go. Make sure it's stuck in. The key thing is to make sure that the cap strip groove is all the way into the plywood. This is pretty much the way they were done originally, very similar to this. So we're just using a same method as they were using. The biggest difference is they made many, many more of them at the same time. Now that the epoxy is set up, we can remove the completed rib from the jig. So, and then we'll set up the next wing rib. So the epoxy is that we use today is much stronger than the original casing glues or animal based glues that were in use at the time. And back then they used to use the casing glues with small brass screws to hold the ribs together. That actually is not a very strong method. It did work, but it's not nearly as strong as just the epoxy is today. So there we go. So there's a completed rib. So I believe this is one of 42, if I'm not mistaken, wing ribs for each Sopwith Pup. And these smaller holes here are for lightening to make the rib lighter. The larger one, this is for the rear spar, and this is for the front spar back up here. They slide over the wing spars, and then they are fastened into place. From a structural standpoint, it is, if you look, it's a very advanced engineering structure. It is very, very strong. So, I mean, I can't see where leaving it solid would add any strength over other parts of the aircraft. You know, with the power available at the time, this makes an aircraft that's about 106, 110 miles an hour. And if you strengthen it too much for a higher speed in dives or whatever, you end up with an aircraft that you can't get an engine large enough to run it. So engine technology in the First War, or the Great War, was pretty much the same it was in the Second World War. The size of the engine determined how fast and the performance of the aircraft. And in this case, the Sopwith Pup actually had the most common engine fitted to it was an 80 Larone, though you did see 100 horsepower gnomes fitted not too infrequently. So an 80 to 100 horsepower to get 100 miles per hour out of a single seat aircraft with the performance that the Pup did is pretty amazing. You know, this was an aircraft that was capable of flying 17,000 plus feet. You know, in 1916, that's pretty impressive performance.